My next patron question is from Graham, who wants to know the current status of a former filmmaking team. In the late 2000s, Mark Neveldine and Brian Taylor appeared to be a rising directorial duo. They made critically acclaimed hits like the Crank movies, Gamer, and the Ghost Rider sequel. Then they just vanished from the spotlight. What happened to them? So I looked into it and found that both of these directors are still active, but have instead decided to make more solo projects. There was not a bitter breakup, and they have discussed collaborating on other films, including another Crank sequel, but they have their own ideas they want to work on individually. It's actually not that unusual. Even the Coen brothers and the Wachowski sisters are working on productions separately now. Here's an excerpt from an interview I found conducted with Mark Neveldine when he was promoting his movie The Vatican Tapes in 2015. We're definitely going to do solo films, but we have an approved treatment for Crank 3 and we're super excited about it. Everybody wants to do it. It's just now about all the stars aligning. Brian and I have a couple things we'd really like to do as a team, and there are projects that really make sense that way. But also, everybody thinks we're just one person. We have things that we want to do solo, and we're very supportive of each other doing that. Looking at their credits, since Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance in 2011, both Neveldine and Taylor have worked on something since, even if they're no longer directing big studio-wide releases at the moment. In addition to the Vatican Tapes, Neveldine directed the action film Panama, which was released on VOD earlier this year. Featuring Mel Gibson, who 20 years ago would be someone you'd be proud to have star in your film, but not so much these days, it was not well received by critics or audiences. Hopefully this does not hurt his career too much. As for Brian Taylor, he recently served as a writer and director on the sci-fi television series Happy. A live-action animation hybrid, it was cancelled after only 2 seasons, but was nonetheless critically acclaimed and developed a following. He was also involved in Peacock's recent television series adaptation of Brave New World. On the film side, Taylor directed the independent film Mom and Dad, starring Nicolas Cage. I actually saw this movie and found while it had its moments, the concept felt stretched out and did not land as many of the jokes as it could have. I seem to be in the minority there, as it got decent reviews from critics, and even John Waters said he was a huge fan. I think John Waters' opinion matters a lot more than mine. It was announced last year that Brian Taylor had directed a short film named Out, starring Christopher Maloney. Unfortunately, it's for the NFT market. So as you can see, just because a filmmaker is not working on a movie being released in thousands of screens does not mean they're not working on something. Neveldine and Taylor just found other avenues for their creativity. There are directors who I found did suddenly go quiet. For example, remember that movie, Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow? It got quite a bit of attention when it was released in 2004 for its use of visual effects in making a sci-fi pulp adventure. But since then, the director, Kerry Conran, does not appear to have done a whole lot, aside from directing a short film in 2012. He said that part of the reason for this was because a lot of the projects he became attached to just fell apart and never happened, like a John Carter movie for Paramount and a new film version of The Shadow to be produced by Sam Raimi. So that's something else that can happen when there's a large gap in a director's filmography. Any movie that makes it to the finish line is a miracle, regardless of the perceived quality. Someone I often think about is Tony Leondis. Since the release of the Emoji Movie, he does not have any screen credits or any updates about what he's been working on since 2017. I hate to think that movie put him into animation jail or something akin to that, because he does not deserve it. There's also Martin Brest. He had a successful directing career with movies like Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, and Scent of a Woman. However, after Gigli flopped, he completely disappeared and has not done a film since. I'm not going to speculate why, but it would be a shame if Gigli led to a great director no longer working anymore. Compared to these other directors I mentioned, Neveldine and Taylor are almost prolific. They're still out there working on films and shows and participating in interviews promoting their work. So while on the subject, are there any directors who have not had credits in a long time and you would like to know what they're up to? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for the question, Graham.